This is Mess in the True Crime Podcast. I'm Carrie here with Stu. Say hey, Stu.
Hey.
Does that sound okay to you now?
Sounds fine.
Stu insisted I just did the intro wrong, so he just stopped talking. He wouldn't say hey, and he just made me go back and replay it, in which I proved to him that I was correct and I did it right. But anyways.
Nobody needs to know all this.
They do need to know that I was right and you were wrong. So, we're back for another episode. We are going to Georgia, I believe, Stu.
You don't know?
I do know. It's Georgia. It's definitely Georgia. Hey, I write a lot of these things, okay? Things get mixed up, but we're going to Georgia for sure. Anyways. So, before we get into the podcast, we want to welcome anybody new here. Welcome. We little warning, if you came here for a classy experience about true crime, you came to the wrong place. We're inappropriate, we cuss, we laugh at inopportune times.
This is true.
This is very true. Anyway, so, but anyone who's been here for a while, we want to let you know we are doing our Patreon. You can check that out in the show notes. Just if you want to support the podcast, we really appreciate it. We write all our episodes and do all of our stuff. But other than that, we've been getting into the Christmas spirit around here.
I have been feeling the spirit.
Yep. Kara's been getting lit.
Yep. Kara's been getting lit along with the tree, as they say.
We've hit the tree up and everything. Although we had quite the debate, and I just finally said Stu can do it because he's doing it wrong. He insists that you put the lights up from the top down, and I insist that you put the lights on from the bottom up. And
I was more than happy to let you put the lights on the tree.
I told you how to put them on, and you were like, "No, this is how you do it." So I said, "Fine."
Well, if you want to do them your way, you put them on.
Okay, well, I'm not, but I wanted your help, but you wouldn't help me do it my way. You insisted on do it your way, so I didn't help at all. Anyway.
What were you going to do to help?
Tell you that you were doing it wrong. I would refuse to put the lights on the Christmas tree from the top to the bottom. I refuse.
So how are you going to help me do it from the bottom to the top? What kind of assistance were you going to give me?
Because you weren't going to help me because you said that was the wrong way to do it.
How was I going to help you?
Help me put the lights on. You hand them over to another person and walk around the tree.
Jesus.
Anyways, he did the lights on his own. But anyways, we have our Christmas tree up. It was quite the day. And anyways, and then our toddler, she helped decorate it. So it looks beautiful. Beautiful. Anyways, but we hope you guys are getting into the holiday spirit as well. And on that note, I guess we can get into tonight's case out of definitely Georgia.
Definitely Georgia.
Yep. Helen Hanks, née Griffin, was born September 21st, 1938, to Turner and Mattie Griffin in Georgia. Now, Helen was described as very pretty, tall. She was a brunette, and she was also, always put together, they said. So she had her dress, her hair, everything.
So unlike
to the
you.
nines.
So.
Very much unlike me. No messy bun for the Helen, but definitely for me. She would go on to marry James Hanks, and they would have 3 beautiful children, Lucy, Penny, and David. Now, the family was very happy. Helen's daughter recalled her dad. He would play guitar while their mom would sing, and the kids would all dance around and everything in the living room. So, I mean, straight out of, what's that show? What's one of these, old shows where everybody's happy? Leave It to Beaver? Is that it?
Sure.
Okay. Very Leave It to Beaver. Mixed with, who were the people that sing and dance?
Partridge Family?
The Partridge Family. So a combo of those two things. Anyways, they seemed to have it all. They were a happy family, and Helen actually had a good career, which in 1972, for a woman to have a career, I mean, a lot of them were staying home and things like that, so this was a pretty impressive thing. Helen was it not, Stuart?
I have no idea. I was like 2.
He's looking at me. Now everybody knows how old you are, Stuart.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. They can do math. It's not hard math, okay?
Can they do math?
I don't know. Anyways, Helen was working as a bookkeeper and a secretary. I assume back in the day, at my age, back in the 70s, I don't know, I feel like women having careers was like
You think it was
not
like the
that
50s
common.
or something?
I don't know.
Or the 40s or the 30s?
Stuart, I don't know what you hippies did back then, okay?
Hippies.
Yes. 70s was peace signs and tripping acid and stuff. I don't know. Anyways, Helen was working as a bookkeeper and a secretary at Wilcox Outdoor Advertising. This was located in Valdosta, Georgia. If I mispronounced that, whatever. Anyways, she was 34 years old. Her marriage was still great, and her children were starting to enter those teenage years. Her oldest daughter, Lucy, was excelling, making dance team, cheer, and flag team. So she's going all out at school. And things were just going great for the Hanks family.
While you were screwing that up, I went back and looked on the iPhone, which they didn't have in 1972.
So you weren't paying attention?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But it's Valdosta, not Valdosta.
I'm sure we'll have somebody write in and tell us that both of us are wrong.
In the first 30 seconds, within 30 seconds of them hearing you pronounce it wrong, we got an email. I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, he found out that it's Valdosta.
Okay, so how is it? Valdosta?
Valdosta.
Okay, Valdosta.
Something I thought you would have known.
No, I'm sorry. I was too busy writing the episode. Come on, let's go.
Anyway.
Can you? Anyways.
However, on August 31st, 1972, it was a typical day for Helen. She was headed to work wearing her dark green dress and a matching necklace.
Very put together. I told you. Classic Helen. Classic Helen.
Well, it gets even better because she had planned to get her hairpiece coiffed after work, as well as drop her typewriter off for repair.
I guess the working ladies back then used to have like hair pieces that they would pin on or whatever, so they didn't have to fix their hair every day. I'm guessing when they went to the office. I don't know.
Well, they might not have been able to grow it out and fix it up or whatever.
Why are you going to put that on Helen? Maybe she just wanted a quick fix to get her hair. She couldn't grow her hair.
Well, maybe she couldn't, or maybe she didn't want to. Maybe she was just like had short hair, and she's like, "Hey, it's easy to
short
wash,
hair,
dry,
don't care.
pop my hair piece in, get it coiffed once a week or whatever, and head off to work."
Those were her plans that day.
Yes, get her hair piece coiffed and get her typewriter fixed.
Just a typical Tuesday or Friday. Okay, I don't know why. It's so funny, but it is. All right. Okay, keep going. Keep going. You gotta keep going.
That is terrible. You gotta cut all that out.
No, keep going. Stuart, we edit this podcast ourselves. I don't have the time. Go on.
Helen was seen in the office around 8:15 a.m. by a coworker who was leaving the office for the day. Who's leaving the office at 8:15? Why would you even go to the office?
No, he was going in to get his orders. It's an advertising company. He was going in to get what he had to go do for the day. Jesus.
By a coworker?
Yes, a coworker. She's like handing out so the coworker comes in, he gets the orders for the day and goes out and puts up signs or does whatever. He's getting his orders for the day.
I suppose. I guess they're doing billboards and outdoor advertising, so makes sense. So it wasn't until around 5 p.m. that evening that the Hanks' home received a phone call on the landline. And we have to say the landline because everybody's used to hearing cell phones. But back in 1972, there was no cell phones.
Thank you, Grandpa, for that.
Well, let me tell you something back in my day.
Story.
The oldest daughter, Lucy, picked up and heard a man who was sounding pretty agitated, asking if her mother was there, saying this was her work. Lucy told him no, and right about then, Lucy's father walked in. So Lucy conveys this to her dad, James. James takes the phone from her, and he finds out that it was Keller Wilcox on the phone, who is Helen's boss. Concerned, James tells the children he needed to head up to Mom's office and see what was going on. The children were worried, but they're trying not to panic because it's not like their mother not to show up at the house, and it's not like Dad to actually look worried. So it's like
something's going on.
Yeah, when you're on a
flight. And they're old enough to like understand like this is strange.
Yeah, when you're on an airplane and you see the flight attendants looking worried.
Yeah, you're like they've seen
this
it all.
This ain't supposed to happen.
Yeah, I mean he's had 3 children. He's seen it all at this point.
Yeah, so dad's the strong one or whatever, mom's the strong one. They put on a united front, and if you're looking at one and they're looking concerned or worried, then
You're worried.
you're worried.
Okay.
You picking up what I'm putting down?
Well,
You picking up what I'm putting down?
I think you've painted a nice picture of how the children felt that day, Stuart.
Have I? Or do I need to go on? Should
No,
I
you
drone
should-
on some more?
No, you shouldn't go on anymore. So James jumps in the car. He drives to Helen's office, which is about 30 miles away, arriving around 5:25 p.m. He immediately sees Helen's car in the parking lot. He enters the building and sees 21-year-old Keller Wilcox, who is Helen's boss. Fucking 21-year-old. That's some nepotism right there.
Right?
I can guarantee it. Anyway, so 21-year-old Keller Wilcox, he's sounds like a porno name. He's digging around in Helen's purse that was sitting on the desk. Now, James, he's asking him, like, what are you doing? And he said, looking for some keys that Helen would not be needing any longer. His words, not be needing any longer. James interpreted this as Helen was going to get fired for leaving the business unlocked and unattended. Keller told James that he had already called the police, who arrived about 5 minutes later at 5:30 p.m. Now, both the Valdosta Police Department and GBI were on the scene. Sorry, that's just our dog dying in the background. Anyways, on the scene. Not sure if it was because they were only 20 miles from the... I'm not sure if the GBI and Valdosta Police Department showed up. I think the GBI showed up because they were only 20 miles from the Florida border. So I don't know if that's a protocol situation when you're that close to the border, because if she's missing and she was taken into Florida, then that turns into a FBI situation.
This is GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
You know, as
not the FBI, not the Federal Bureau.
You know what? As I'm saying it to you, I'm realizing
What is wrong with you? How many drinks have you had?
I haven't had that many. I'm realizing now what I'm saying, and I'm wrong.
You've heard it.
So the GBI shows up, not because they're near Florida, because they're the GBI. So they quickly search the office and the warehouse. I gotta get myself together. Okay, so they search the office and the warehouse attached to it, and there's a warehouse there because it's an advertising company. So, and they find no signs of Helen or anything that would indicate she was hurt, if there was any type of struggle. There's nothing knocked over. There's nothing they can tell. Like we said, the business is open, unlocked, and everything seems to be fine, except for the fact that Helen is missing. Now, as far as they could tell, also that nothing had been taken, so robbery doesn't seem like a motive.
What are you going to take?
A sign?
Some wallpaper that you put on a billboard?
I'm assuming there's money in there.
There ain't no money in there.
Anyways, they take note that she has her typewriter and her hairpiece in the car. And they also find, interesting enough, Stuart, 2 completed applications for employment for other businesses. Plot thickens, right?
Maybe that's why she was having her hairpiece coiffed.
Now, with no clue as to where Helen might be, they do file a missing persons report, and it's clear something has happened to Helen. Like we said, her car is in the driveway, her purse is there, but she is missing. This is a very strange circumstance that says she didn't just take off on her own accord.
The Valdosta Police Department began by questioning Keller Wilcox about what had happened that afternoon. Now, he tells the police that him and his father, E.K. Bunny Ears Foxy Wilcox Sr.
Now, that's a porn name, but not for a man, for a woman. Foxy Wilcox. I think we've seen... Not we. I think it's been seen on a website that name before.
I think you just ratted yourself out. Is
No,
it just what
I
happened there?
didn't. No, I'm just saying. Come on, guys, with these names.
Well, Keller Jr. says that himself and Sr. had been in Atlanta for the past 2 days and had driven back to Valdosta that morning, which is about a 3-hour and 15-minute drive. Keller told police that they did not see anything unusual when they arrived between 4:15 and 4:30. Keller said they looked for Helen but could not find her. so it was odd that the building was unlocked and she was nowhere to be found. It's a pretty big place since there's an office up front and a large warehouse in the back. As you might imagine, they got to have all the crap they need to do their job, put up on billboards, the outdoor advertising business. They got to get trucks in the yard, warehouse with all the shit.
This isn't a podcast about how to run an advertising business, dude.
So I don't need to go on about that?
No, we don't need to go to the list of supplies found in the warehouse. There were scissors, there was paper, there was tape.
I'm thinking it's vinyl, not paper, but okay.
Okay.
And glue.
Anyways.
Keller then said he called the police and after he realized that she was missing. So Keller is one hell of a boss.
Yep.
For a 21-year-old, he's out there hard charging.
He's doing things with his
21
years of experience.
And old Foxy is...
Foxy's just...
Foxy.
Making his videos. Posting them online.
Yeah, because there's an online in 1972.
Yeah. He's posting them on the VHS. Was there even VHS back then?
No.
How do you watch movies?
I don't know. I was probably crapping in a cloth diaper. I don't know. You go to the movie theater and you watch a movie. That's how you see a movie. You don't watch one with your house.
Anyways, he's making snuff porn in the back room.
On his 8mm.
On his 8mm. Wasn't the only thing that was 8mm in the room. Am I right?
What?
All right. Anyways, I am not high despite what Stuart says.
You sure act like it.
Okay. So police, they stayed searching the building until around 6:30 p.m. that day. James Hanks, he went home to his children, still not knowing where his wife was. The next day, they tried to keep some normalcy for the children, and they sent them to school while James visited with the police. So the kids are, they're trying to be like, hey, mom's okay, even though they're like, oh, shit, I don't know if mom's okay. They go all day. There's no sign of Helen turning back up or anything like that. There's no signs of Helen. So later that day, however, Keller does call detectives, and he tells them that he had discovered 2 cash boxes missing. So this is a new development, because remember they didn't notice anything missing. There was no like paper or tape or anything missing, like you said, or signs. And now Keller's
there's
like,
signs.
There are definitely signs. He's like, hey, these 2 cash boxes are missing. So this opens up police thinking, hey, maybe this was actually a robbery gone wrong. They went to go rob the place. They see Helen and they decide to take her with them instead.
Looking at all their options, the old Valdosta Department of Police.
Stu thinks it's so funny if he calls them the VD police instead.
Instead of BPD?
Yeah, because Stuart's 12.
I am sometimes, yeah. So they questioned James Hanks about his whereabouts that day. He told them that he was at work at the local maximum security prison. He told them that he had been there all day from around 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Police also questioned James about the state of his marriage, as well as the state of their finances. He told police that Helen and himself were very happy and that they had no money issues. They asked if he had ever been abusive to her, and he said no.
Of course he did.
Of course he did. The police brought the children in as well so that they could discuss their parents' marriage. That's where you get the chinks in the armor, is when you start questioning the kids.
Yeah, especially the teenagers are like, Dad sucks.
Dad sucks. He took my iPad away. Now, all the children said the same thing, that their parents were happy. They had never seen their mom and dad do anything like physical fighting or anything like that. I'm sure they argued at some point.
Maybe they just did it in the closet.
Maybe.
To like hide it from the children.
Argued in the closet?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we recorded podcast in the closet to hide it from our pets.
We've done all sorts of things in the closet.
We have. While questioning the people in Helen's life, police were searching the nearby woods for any signs of Helen. Searchers turned up absolutely nothing. They also went and they were able to confirm James's alibi because multiple eyewitnesses placed him at the prison.
Yeah, he's in a maximum security prison. I don't think you could have a better alibi.
No.
I think they even made the joke on one of the shows I watched about this. They were like, he was like, yeah, James couldn't done it because he was in prison. And then it went to commercial break or whatever. And then it comes back and so it's like, oh my God, what do you mean he's in prison? What is he doing in prison? He's in a day work program? It's like, no, he's a guard. There is absolutely no way he's lying about his alibi. He's got this is the airtight alibi if you need an airtight alibi.
Yes, become a prison guard, especially these days. Cameras, check in, check out.
Yes, become a prison guard if you're going to murder your wife.
No. Well.
Yeah?
I don't know. I don't know how that would work. If you're going to murder her, how are you going to get away with it? Unless you hire somebody to do it for you. But then if they catch that fella, then he'll rat you out.
This is true. All right, so police, they continue asking anyone in the area if they had seen anything. They came across someone who had said they had seen a woman that looked like Helen, and she had gotten into a car with a man around 1 p.m. that day. So this is breaking news. They described the car to police, and one thing that stood out was that it had Alabama plates. And they were like, these people don't belong here. These are fucking Alabama people up in Georgia.
Yeah.
Let's get them. So police, they quickly take this information to Keller and Foxy Wilcox, soon to be starring in a porno near you. And they immediately give a name. It was a man that had worked for the company that came down to assist with some of the financial aspects of the business. They tracked this guy down. He was back in Albany, Georgia, about an hour and a half away from Valdosta? How did
Valdosta, Jesus.
Where did we settle on this? Valdosta?
Yeah.
From Valdosta. He does not deny that he picked up Helen at the office. However, he says, so they're like, okay, so you picked her up, and he's like, yeah, but it was the day before, not August 31st. So he was in town on the day before on August 30th, and they were able to confirm his alibi that he was, in fact, back in Albany the day that Helen went missing. And so this is another lead that they thought, oh, this guy took her or whatever, and we've got him. It's another lead that's gone dry.
As they call it, a dead end in the business.
A dead end in the business.
In October of 1972, the VD police came back to talk to Keller and Foxy Wilcox again. Nothing had come from the cash boxes being stolen, and police were coming to a dead end in their investigation. Police went over the day again with the Wilcoxes, and they said that they drove back from Atlanta that morning, said that they visited two friends around 1 p.m. that day in Cordele, Georgia. They arrived at Foxy's home around 3:45. When they arrived, they got in two separate cars and drove to the office in Valdosta, arriving around 4:15.
Which is weird.
Which is kind of weird. They did not see Helen. Then they called James and the police at about 5 p.m. They found nothing out of order with their story. It was the same that they had stated over a month before. With no sign of Helen, no body, no new evidence, investigators, they're pretty much at a loss. It's a dead end at this point.
The VD police can't find anything?
They cannot. So the Valdosta Department of Police and the GBI...
You're an idiot. And I stand by that.
Well, yes, I know. I've heard that many times.
Why of all things you come with VD police? I can't even with you. Just keep going. Jesus.
Well, it dried up. So for the next
their VD.
years, there was no progress made in the case of missing Helen.
Yeah, so this is they've completely lost everything. Both investigative teams have said, I mean, if you don't have a body, you don't have any evidence. I mean, I don't know what they do. I mean, looking back, I think there were a few things they could do, but at the time in 1972, they were like, I don't know what. I mean, at this point, you could argue she just ran off with somebody.
With the cash boxes, just.
Yeah, she just wanted to start a new life. She'd hopped in a car with her new boyfriend or whatever and just vominosed.
Yeah, because back in 1972, like $2,000 was like worth $10 million or something.
Yeah, and you could just disappear too. There was no.
Really? You're gonna. 2000 is worth 10 million back in 1972. You're just gonna gloss
I
over
don't,
that?
I don't know if you're being.
No,
I
it's
don't know.
not.
Okay, whatever. Inflation's a funny thing. Okay. Anyways, you could just disappear in 1972. That's what I'm saying. With your $10 million
Down in Costa Rica.
from a cash box. On November 24th, 1980, a logger was clearing land in the Valdosta. Is that how we?
Oh my God!
I don't remember Valdosta.
Is this going to be an
area
ongoing thing?
Of Indian? Yes, because I don't remember what we said.
Valdosta.
Anyways, Valdosta area of Indian Creek. Indian Creek? No, I'm kidding. Indian Creek Road.
Native American Creek Road.
Anyways, Indian Creek Road, when he hit a large wooden box inched in galvanized metal. The top broke off the box, which had been nailed shut. At this point, the logger can see a skeleton, so this is quite the find for this logger, Stu. He gets down to inspect further, and it confirms his suspicions, and he calls the police right away. Now, when searching the box and the hole it was in, police find that the following additional items were some of them were inside the box, some were out. So inside the box, they had the two metal cash boxes, dun, 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 a bank bag, receipt books, a wedding ring, shoes, a mass of hair, and a length of rope. Now, under the box, after they pulled it up, they found a padlock with a key inserted, several other keys, portions of a dress, and next to the box was rolled up lingerie, so like on the side and not underneath. Upon closer inspection of the papers, they see that they have Wilcox Outdoor Advertising written on them, Stu. I mean, this is a big find. Police call Keller and ask him if he is missing items. Keller takes it upon himself to actually drive out to the scene where the box is found, and the police did not ask him to come out there. They just asked him, hey, are you missing some items or something like that? And he's like, oh, I'll be right there. Kind of weird. A little weird.
How do I get there again? What are their directions?
Can you send me a pin? No, not back then.
No, not 1980, no.
So anyway, he gets out there. He quickly confirms that these cash boxes, receipts, and even the box that the skeleton was found in were from his business, Wilcox Outdoor Advertising.
Well, the Popo put this together, and they pretty much think it's Helen, obviously, because of, even though it's been 8 years.
They know. They figured
even
out.
Though it's been 8 years.
It's been 8 years. They're like, okay, there's a woman missing from the Wilcox Advertising / porno company. And there's a skeleton here. So we've got to.
We're going in this direction.
We're going in this direction.
We think this might be this lady.
Yes.
Helen.
Yes.
They used dental records to confirm that it was Helen in the box. They also notify Helen's husband, their children, and as you can imagine, the family's devastated. The children are older now, they're college age, and they admit that they were holding out that, mom had just been kidnapped or something, that she would escape one day and come back to them.
Yeah, they said that they were not ashamed to admit, but just like, they know people, like, if they were to tell people this, they were probably like, those poor kids, they think their mom's, like, going to show back up, like, it's obvious. They were saying, like, it was kind of just something they held way down deep. They didn't really talk about it, but they just had these, like, just a little bit of hope. I mean, I'm sure anybody I wouldn't even know, but anybody who's had a missing person, they always hold out that hope that
until
there's an actual body with that closure, you've got that little bit of hope back in the back of your mind that they're going to show up one day. No. And this just deflated all those hopes right then, and it became real that their mom was never coming home.
Well, the family was
get real depressing on you, Stu.
Well, why, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The family was also able to identify the wedding ring, the dress, and the necklace that were found in the box with Helen.
Now, when looking at this evidence that they found in the box, they couldn't determine exactly how Helen had died, as her remains were too far decomposed. But they did find that rope, which was actually wrapped in that hairpiece and around the neck area of the skeleton. Now, the rope also had, whenever they, like, laid it out or whatever, coroner, whenever he laid it out, it was the size of a neck. Now, the medical examiner, he believed that Helen had been strangled with that rope. They also believe that she had been raped based on the state of her dress, which again, they're just basing this on the evidence found in the box because they can't tell because everything's completely decomposed.
8 years decomposed.
But the zipper was down and the sleeves had been cut as if someone had cut the dress off of her. The bra also looked as if it had been torn or cut. It's like someone had ripped that off of her as well. And so this is worst case scenario for the family. They now realize that Helen had died in a very just a horrific way. She'd been raped and then she'd been strangled. This is not it's not a quick death or anything like that.
Yeah, all the evidence is pointing to
a terrible end for Helen.
Police, looking at all this stuff that's found with Helen's body, they're thinking that this is linked back to the Wilcox Outdoor Advertising Company.
And porno.
Porno. German porno.
With Foxy.
Well, Foxy.
Keller.
Police knew someone at the business had to be involved with Helen's murder because there's just too much Wilcox advertising bullshit found with the body. So they started interviewing people that had worked at the company.
If I must, Stuart, it was like...
Oh, God, here we go.
It was like Wilcox... Here's the 1-star. Here's the 1-star reviews coming.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to leave a 1-star review, just go away. Anyways, it's as if the Wilcox Advertising Company was advertising that they were part of her murder. That's some 4D chess, too.
Is it now?
It is.
Why would they be advertising that?
I'm saying that was like they were, and they were an advertising company. It's deep. It's meta. You wouldn't understand.
I would not. No, you've drank way too much.
No, I haven't. Just go on.
So, as I was saying, police began interviewing people that had worked at the company back in 1972, way back when. It is now 1980.
When women couldn't work and...
Yeah. And there was a bunch of hippies on acid.
Yep.
It had been 8 years, so a lot of people had moved on to new jobs. They had to track them down, hope that they remembered something, anything at all about working at Wilcox. They spoke to Keller Wilcox's father-in-law, and he stated that he had told Keller that one of the boxes they had was missing 2 Saturdays after Helen went missing.
But the boxes, not the cash boxes, the boxes like that Helen was found in. That one of those boxes had actually gone missing, and he discovered it 2 Saturdays after Helen,
He told Keller, and then Keller's like, well, I will let the police know.
Snippity snap, I'll let him know.
I'll let him know. However, Keller did not let the police know.
No, he did not.
Now, 2 employees stood up.
Well, he's 21, Stu. He's got, things to do.
Yeah.
He's got to grow,
Well, evidently he's married because he has a father-in-law, so.
No, Oh, wait, yeah, you're right. You're right, Stu. He is married.
Yeah, I'm right. I've done my research, so.
You ain't done shit. You just show up with a drink in hand.
I am the talent.
You might have set up the microphones, but that is about it, and you did it wrong. It took us 20 minutes to get it back to the settings that were proper to record this.
That's because you didn't take a picture or push the buttons.
Whatever. And Keller's a shithead anyways.
Is he?
Yes.
Now, 2 employees stand out to police. One is Ed Rentz. The other is Lorenzo Marshall. This led investigators to ask them to take a polygraph test.
Yeah, they were sounding suspicious. They were sounding like they didn't know their story. They were sounding like they maybe knew a little bit more than they were saying. So they're like, hey, you two, we got to get you a polygraph test. This was back when we all know today, polygraph tests are maybe not. I don't really know. I'm not really sure. It's I don't know.
It's like asking the magic 8 ball these days.
Yeah. So, but back then it was we're putting you in a polygraph test. We're going to find out if you're lying.
And
it was serious back then.
Both failed. Lorenzo had worked for the Wilcox business since 1952. Ed Rentz since 1948. Both were handymen. They were doing odd jobs for the business. Now, with this information, police requested police question them further. Requested. What's wrong with me?
You're...
Lorenzo told police that he couldn't remember the exact date, but that it was after Helen disappeared. He said that Ed Rentz asked him to help him dig a hole. Lorenzo said they drove to a wooded area. He did not remember where, and they began digging. They dug until they had to stop due to rain. Lorenzo remembers the hole being about waist deep.
Now, when I quickly first read this, too, because I read the actual case in the actual court documents for this.
Yes, we did.
No, you didn't. But anyways, whenever I read this, I was like, why on earth, if someone fucking asked me to go dig a hole in the goddamn forest, to be like, what on God's green earth are you talking about? I'm not going to do that. But I'll share my thoughts on that later, because I know what you're all thinking. You're like, why would someone just voluntarily be like, yeah, let's go dig a hole out in the woods about waist deep, big enough to bury a body or whatever? But we'll talk about it later. I'll give you my thoughts later about why this happened and everything and why and everything. Just FYI, because I'm sure everybody's thinking that too.
Well, Lorenzo did say that later, he's not sure exactly when, himself and Ed were called to meet Foxy and Keller Wilcox at the advertising business, where they loaded a box into his truck. They then drove out to where they had dug the hole. Ed continued to dig, and then they buried the box. Lorenzo said that he also saw Ed throw something like a dress into the hole before they lowered the box.
Now, they're also going in, they're speaking to Ed Rentz, who was now 78 years old. And he would have been around 70 at the time of Helen's murder.
That's some good math right there.
That's some fast math. We could use you in Tulsa. That's a Friends quote for, I think we've used it before.
Have we? Or have you?
All my Friends quotes are lost upon dumbass Stuart, because he doesn't like...
All my Scrubs quotes are lost upon you.
Stuart, I have watched that show full from season 1 till the shitty ass end where they started to try to make that new teaching college or whatever with those new people or whatever.
Well, that was terrible.
Okay, well, I've watched it
However, all the quotes that I
beginning-
use are lost
from
on you.
beginning to end. I've watched it twice, Stuart. Maybe thrice I have watched it. You have not watched all the Friends episodes. You complain. I play them every Thanksgiving, at least the Thanksgiving episodes, and you complain. Anyways.
And then I foresee what's going to happen, then you get mad.
You like Phoebe?
Who doesn't like Phoebe?
Okay. Anyways, everybody's great. All right. So, anyways, Ed, he was 70 at the time of Helen's murder. And we mentioned the time that the guys had started working for the company, because these are loyal employees. This is back in the day. I mean, you went and worked for a company and you were loyal to them and everything like that. Now, so Ed, he tells a very similar story to Lorenzo's with a few key differences. He said that him and Lorenzo were driven by Keller to dig the hole. This wasn't them just going out and digging some hole on their own accord. He said that Keller drove them. He also said the same thing about it raining and needing to stop, and that it was also dark, so he wasn't sure on the exact date. So that's they're both saying it's raining. I mean, things are lining up. Things are adding up. He said he was called to the warehouse along with Lorenzo, snap, to the advertising agency to load a box up. Now, the big change that Ed said was massive, Stu. He said that they actually were called to the warehouse to load the box into the truck, but they actually put the body in the box. Lorenzo didn't mention this. Anyways, he said that the body was stiff and that it had, quote, extra pieces, which he thought might be her legs, were also put in the box. He's just nonchalant describing this, Stuart, okay? Now, don't judge now. I will explain to you why. I was like, why are these people just digging a hole? Why are they just nonchalantly saying, oh, we just put extra pieces in and we just forgot about it, like they went and had a club sandwich at the local diner or whatever.
Man, there's some girl missing and we didn't go down and tell police.
Yeah.
Hey.
So they then loaded it up. They loaded up this box after putting the extra pieces, and they were taken to actually finish digging the hole and to bury the box with Helen in it along with her stuff. So this lines up with what Lorenzo said, where they said they were taken and they finished digging the hole. They put the box in. Now, this was a shocking revelation. Going by what Ed said, Helen had been dismembered. I mean, this is next level crime shit, Stuart. The body was exhumed to check for any evidence of dismemberment because they had investigated the skeleton, they had looked over it, everything like that, but they hadn't really looked into dismemberment. So now they're really going in and they are cleaning up the knee joints, and the medical examiner, he has determined that there were abrasions on the left knee consistent with dismemberment after death. So she's died, and now they've cut her in pieces. Because like we said, she was a tall woman, and Stu was asking about her, and I said she reminded me of like a she had a presence, like there was videos of her and everything like that. She had a presence like a Gina Davis. I felt like in A League of Their Own. Like when she walked in a room, I think you would take note of her. She was tall. She was put together. She was elegant. You know, Stu?
Yes. And she had a coiffed hair piece of it.
She did. And anyway, she reminded me of maybe a Gina Davis if she was like in A League of Their Own. Anyway, so he also found a lesion on the femur of the left leg, and this possibly had been like someplace they had tried to cut into the leg, but then they realized they were like, it was difficult because it's like in the middle of a bone, and then they had moved up and they had found the actual knee joint to actually cut off the leg.
Sounds like some pretty sick shit.
It is very sick. Anyway, so this was a new revolution from...
Revolution? Or revelation?
Did I say revolution?
It sounded like it to me.
Okay.
We can play it back if you want.
We don't have to play back, Stuart. Like I said, I don't have time to edit this. Anyways, revelation that they had was that she had been dismembered. This is like next level shit in terms of like disposing of a body. This is desecration of a body. This is another charge that would be to the person who actually committed this crime.
If they can find them.
If they can find them. If there's not advertisements all over
who done it?
The skeleton. Yeah.
The VD police now have the testimonies of Ed and Lorenzo, and they need some hard evidence to link these crimes back to Keller and Foxy Wilcox.
Porn stars.
This is where
hard evidence.
This is where the key that they found in the box comes into play. The key did not belong to Helen. It was a key for a 1971 Ford pickup truck. I used to have a 1970 Ford pickup that I drove around town.
1970 Ford pickup?
Yeah, up in Anchorage, whenever I was living up in Anchorage, Alaska. Visit my dad up there.
Yeah.
He had a 1970 Ford pickup. Yellow. I used to drive that all over town. Everybody knew who I was.
Is that when you worked at the Pizza Hut?
No, I worked at the Shakey's.
I thought you worked at a Pizza Hut when you were in Alaska.
No, I worked at Shakey's Pizza.
Oh, it was pizza. Okay.
It was pizza. Worked at the Shakey's on...
Has everyone worked at a... I was a waitress at a pizza restaurant for a while, Stu, too.
Where was the Shakey's? Was it on Northern Lights in Minnesota or something up there? I don't remember. Anyway.
If you're from Alaska, maybe you know this.
Yeah, it's probably changed a lot since I've been there.
Is Alaska just one big city?
Yeah, that's it. Just one big city. There ain't no other cities. Everybody lives in one city. I don't know
how Alaska works.
That's it.
I know my aunt tried to move up there for a short period of time, and it didn't work out with her new boyfriend. And apparently she moved to wherever it was like daylight all day long. Is that a thing?
In the summer, it is.
Okay, yeah. It didn't work out. Anyways,
with the boyfriend or the daylight?
Either one. She hated it all.
Anyway.
She chose Oklahoma. I mean...
Muskogee?
No, I'm not going to get into Oklahoma. All right.
You've been in Oklahoma. You're from Oklahoma.
I know.
Anyway. Moving on. However, details.
Drink.
We got a key for a 1971 Ford pick-em-up truck. Now, Helen didn't own a pickup truck.
Yes, we've stated that.
James didn't own a pickup truck.
We haven't stated that.
Well, he might have, but it wasn't a Ford, a 1971
Okay, we don't
Ford
know. Okay, go on. He didn't own the car that went to this damn key, Stuart.
Oh, well, Keller did.
Of course Keller did.
Keller Wilcox owned one. So the police are thinking there is no way that this key got into this box with Helen's skeleton without Keller or Foxy having been involved in her getting in this box to begin with.
I mean, we can go back in time and be like, why didn't the police investigate these two shitheads more at the time? But it's 1972.
If there's no evidence, there's no evidence.
Everyone was on acid. I don't really know what was going on, Stuart.
Yes, we were all dropping mushrooms and acid.
Yeah.
Mushroom tea and dropping
You
acid.
at 2 years old were dropping acid.
Dropping deuces in my britches.
Ew, Stuart. What's wrong with you?
Acid in my breast milk.
Shut up. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Well, police believe that the key for this 1971 Ford had accidentally been tangled with the dress and it was dropped into the box unknowingly. With this information, police were ready to bring Keller and Foxy in for questioning.
And as they were questioning them, they said, "Officer, what can I do for you to make this go away?"
Mm-hmm. Both denied any involvement. Keller stating the same story he told 8 years previous to police about being in Atlanta and not having arrived at the office until about 4 p.m. He said he simply did not have the time to murder Helen.
I just don't got the time, officers. I just don't got the time.
I would. I didn't like the bitch.
Done it.
But I would have done it, but I just didn't have the time.
Stuart, you can't say it.
Well, I'm not saying this. This is Keller saying this.
Keller.
He's acting like I would have done it if I had time. I mean,
if I'd done it at the time, officers, I would have murdered her because I didn't really like her.
But I didn't have the time, so I didn't do it.
have the time.
In July 1981, they arrest Keller. They charge him with the murder and concealing a death. Foxy was charged with concealing a death and hindering the apprehension of a criminal. Foxy, however, never went on trial. They said he was in his 70s and in poor health.
Bullshit.
And they didn't think he would make it through the trial. He did die in 1990, but he did testify on the trial of his son, and he backed up his son's alibi.
Yes,
they should have put that motherfucker on trial.
Yeah, he should have freaking went into prison and died in prison
waiting
for
on
what
a
he
trial
had done.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, this is foreshadowing, people. Keller's the fucking asshole that did this, okay? And Foxy should have went down with him. Not in the porno style, but...
Well, maybe he could have gone down in porno style in the gin pop in the
Foxy
prison.
shouldn't have been allowed to die in his deathbed like that. He should have went down with old Keller.
Yeah, in his orange jumpsuit.
And then going to go on trial and testify.
For his son as a alibi.
Yeah, he's going to go testify. What an ass.
Motherfucker.
Anyways, police began talking to people in Keller's life about that alibi. Supposedly, he had stopped in Cordial?
Cordial.
Cordial.
I mean, some people were trying to tell me it was Cordell.
We had a whole argument about this, but whatever. Cordial.
Yeah, we should have recorded that.
Around 1 p.m. We don't need to record everything, Stu. That's Keller and Foxy's job. Around 1 p.m. to visit his father-in-law, Willard King. And Willard, as you know, is the one that worked for the advertising agency, and he told him about the box and everything, Keller about the box. So he's saying that he stopped in to see Willard in Cordele around 1 p.m. Now, Willard told police that he did stop that day at 1 p.m., but left at about 1:30 p.m. Now, both Willard and Keller's ex-wife, now ex-wife, said that it was only a 60 to 70-minute drive back to Valdosta.
Jesus Christ.
This
one
would
star.
put
I would give you 1 star for this.
This would put Keller and Foxy back at the office much earlier than the time frame they had given. So they're saying remember originally they said they got back in town, I think, around
4:30 to 5.
No, they got back in town around 3:45, but they got to the office around 4 to 4:30, somewhere in those range. They kind of went back and forth on their time frame. But if they're saying that the father-in-law is saying, hey, he stopped from 1 to 1:30 and left, and they're only an hour away, that means that they were back in town by 2:30 p.m. So anyway, so there's a contradiction right there on the time frame that they had given police. Police and others at the scene say that Foxy was not even there whenever they arrived to the advertising business. Now, Keller had been telling them, like, hey, everybody, like, hey, my dad was there. He did. And the police were like, what are you fucking talking about? He was not there. We didn't even talk to him. This is ridiculous. Like, why are you trying to tell us that he was there and he wasn't there? Like, we know he wasn't there.
Yeah, we have no record of him being at the office. Nobody questioned your dad that day.
But now whenever they're being, what is it, put to the flames or
Feet to the fire?
feet to the fire?
Well, that's a good one.
Feet to the fire.
Eyes to the flame, whatever the
Yeah,
hell
whatever.
you're talking about. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Feet to the fire. Keller's like, my dad was there and he said this and he said that. And the police were like, no, he was not there. We know for a fact he was not there. So Keller also told his ex-wife that he had arrived around 3 p.m. at the office. So this is another time frame that they're finding out. She stated that she received a call from Keller around 5 p.m. telling her to go to a party that was planned that night for them without him, as he didn't know how long the police would be at the advertising warehouse looking for Helen and questioning everybody. Keller would later tell his wife that police didn't actually leave until 8 p.m. So just to recap, so he's telling his wife that I can't come home until 8 p.m. or after 8 p.m. because the police are there. And that he's saying like, oh, my dad was there as well. Police are saying, no, your dad wasn't there. And 2, police say that they actually left at 6:30 p.m. So there was no reason why Keller ended up showing up at the party at 9 p.m. because he told his wife, the police left at 8 p.m. That's why I showed up at 9 p.m. And the police are like, 1, your dad wasn't there. 2, you're full of shit because we left at 6:30 p.m. There's no reason why you should have stayed around in the office and not arrived at your own party until 9 p.m., which is what he told his wife. So where are these extra hours that they're unaccounted for? What are they doing, Stuart?
What is old Keller doing?
Yeah. What is Keller doing? Now, Keller's ex-wife tells investigators that the evening of the party, they headed home around 10:30 p.m. So he's there from 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. And then Keller says that he needs to go check on the office, and he actually left. She went to bed at 11 p.m., and she said when she laid down to go to sleep, he still wasn't home. And he had told police that he arrived at home at 11 p.m. So there's contradictions there. She's saying, no, I went to bed at 11 and he wasn't there. And he's like, oh, I arrived back around 11 p.m. And she would have seen him she said she went to bed at 11. She would have seen him if he said he arrived at 11. She would have heard him come in, everything like that. So there's something fishy going on.
One would think.
Yes, one would think.
Yeah. So the Valdosta popos are
The
thinking...
Valdosta...
Leviosas.
PDS. No, that's all I think about. When Stu keeps giving me a hard time with, I can't remember if it's Valdosta or Valdosta or however we just determined it was pronounced.
Valdosta.
But whenever he says, he's like, no, it's Valdosta. Whenever I ask him, all I think is like, it's Leviosa. That's all I think about. It's some Hermione shit, Stuart.
For all you Harry Potter nerds
It's
that would
Leviosa.
get this. For all those of you that are not Harry Potter nerds that don't understand.
You
it's
suck.
some Harry Potter.
You're a
geek
dumbass.
shit.
You haven't seen Harry Potter?
Yes. No, they haven't. They probably have better things to do.
Okay. Well, your life is sad.
Okay. Anyway, details
Drink.
that the police are getting are a little sketchy because they're troubled by the unaccounted hours because several people had witnessed a strained relationship between Keller and Helen. Helen's best friend told police that the Sunday before Helen disappeared, she had complained about Keller, saying she was afraid of him and that she was looking for another job. She said that she had slapped Keller after he had grabbed her ass.
Slap! Bitches!
Helen's daughter Lucy told a similar story, saying that several weeks before the disappearance, she had come home, her being Helen, had come home crying, saying that Keller had made a pass at her. Another friend said that Helen wanted another job because she was told to keep 2 separate books, one that was correct and one that was not.
So fraud.
Yeah, a little fraud. So, old Keller Jr., Foxy Jr., is trying to keep some shit from Foxy Sr.
21-year-old Foxy Jr. is being a dumbass. Anyways, but also, let's remember, it is 1972. So, I know Stuart is making fun of me because I'm like, oh, it's a working girl situation or whatever, like 9 to 5, Dolly Parton, all this stuff like that. But the point is, it is, people, it is. So she's over here, like, she's trying to make a career out of things. She's trying to, like, progress women in the bookkeeping world, the accounting world, all this stuff like that. And this guy is like asking her to keep separate books, and she's like, this isn't right. But then she's torn because she's like, oh my God, I got to progress women in the workplace and all this stuff. But then she's like, this is wrong, and she's just torn. Why are you looking at me like that, Stuart?
Because you're an idiot.
I'm not an idiot.
But I love you.
Okay.
Now, other co-workers noted the tension between the two, that being Keller and Helen. Helen seemed uncomfortable at work.
Sounds like a real estate agency, Stuart.
Yeah, one that we deal with. So let's...
Okay.
It's different, though. It's different.
It's different.
Keller denied all this, saying that Helen was a great employee.
Okay, wait a minute. I have to say why it's throwing me off, because you said Keller and Helen. Helen Keller, Stuart.
Helen
Keller.
You're saying she was deaf
The
and
deaf-
blind?
Was she deaf and blind?
Supposedly.
Okay, Helen
As
Keller.
the story goes.
That's what you're throwing me off, because you said Kellen and Heller, and I was thinking, oh wait, no, wait, Helen and Keller and Helen Keller.
You're just getting this after this long in the this far into the podcast.
We're this far, and I just put together why it sounds
We got
so
like
familiar.
a page and a half or two left to go.
Okay, go on.
Okay. In January of 1982, the trial of Keller Wilcox begins. Prosecutors painted a picture of Keller finally getting his chance to be alone with Helen. He sexually assaults her, then he kills her. In a panic, he calls his dad, old Foxy, to help out.
That fucking Foxy, I tell you. Jeez.
Worried about the business, Foxy assists his son and brings in Lorenzo and Ed.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to pick up with, you know how like I had said there was some foreshadowing too, and I was like, oh my God, why would these people just go dig this hole and not say anything?
And now
right,
for Kara's 2 cents.
Yes, Stuart. So these guys, Ed and Lorenzo, they were African Americans. They're 78 years old whenever, or around in that time frame. So they're born in like 1900. What these motherfuckers at the Wilcox / porno outdoor advertising agency have done, Wilcox and Foxy, they have
Loop these two motherfuckers in.
Loop these guys in, because the fact is that they were African Americans back in the 70s, and I guarantee you, Stuart, these little shitheads told them, they said, summons them and they said, hey, I need you to come help us load this box. They implicated them into loading this woman's body into a box and digging a hole.
And if you tell anybody,
yeah,
we'll say you're involved.
We'll say you're involved. And they're going to say, who do you think they're going to believe? Us white business owners, or you African American people that work for us? Who do you think they're going to believe? And I guarantee you, they told these people that, Lorenzo and Ed, and so they both just said.
Do you think they told him that, or it was implied?
It was I don't know. They might have told him that. They might have, if one of them
just told him flat out.
I guarantee you, they just told him flat out. I think they just said, whenever one of them said, I don't feel comfortable doing this, or I don't want to do this.
It's probable or plausible.
It's both, Stuart. Anyways, they said, I guarantee they either said it to him, or the guys understood, like, I'm now in this situation. If I say anything, I'm going to be blamed for this white woman's death. And so that's why I'm saying, when I initially read it, I was like, what the fuck? If someone asked me to go dig a hole, I'd be like, what are you talking about? But now I see that they roped them in intentionally so that they would have a scapegoat in case one of them went to the police and said, hey, this is what we did. So they did it on purpose. So these people are not only shitheads for murdering Helen, they are doubling down on their terrible humans.
They are Keller.
Keller and Foxy Stewart.
Well, Foxy's an asshole.
Both of them are assholes, Stewart.
Well, Keller's the one that did the
Yeah,
raping
but
and
Foxy
murdering.
covered it up, helped cover it up, and roped these two guys into it. It's a bunch of bullshit. Anyways, these people are shittier than they already were shitheads, and now they're like doubling down on the shittiness that is their human beings. And they suck, Stewart. That's all I'm going to say.
How bad do they suck?
They suck like they're Wilcox outdoor advertising / porn industry name is. They suck. Okay.
I got you.
All right. So that's just my a side note that these people are just, fuck these Wilcox people. Okay.
So anyway, however, jurors did find Keller guilty, and he was sentenced to life in prison plus 12 months consecutive for the concealing a death charge. Now, his conviction was overturned in 1985, so he was in jail for 3 years. Then he had an unfair trial because of inconsistent testimony from Ed and Lorenzo.
Now, I will say I read the court documents in the, what is it called? The
docket.
The docket? Is that what it's called? Anyways, the court reporter's writing, Stewart.
One would think that you would know things.
I read these things, and yes, they did go back and forth, but remember this is
1980.
Whatever, they went back and forth about their stories or whatever, and it was a bit inconsistent, but the facts they were stating were consistent. I'll say that.
Yeah, this happened in 72. They were trying to remember everything in 1985 from the trial.
Well, 1982.
82,
in the trial.
Then 85 again for the retrial or the whatever the Wilcox fella's trying to do, his appeal.
But in 1987, a court of appeals overturned that and put him back in prison, thank God. Now, he was up for parole several times starting in 1990. The parole board denied him each time because he had actually never taken responsibility for his actions or even admitted that he had any part or had killed Helen. Now, after all these times, they're saying hey, we can't let you out because you're a shithead. You can't even admit that you did this or whatever.
Exactly. How are we supposed to put you out on parole if you won't even cop to?
You've been convicted of killing this woman. Now you need
all
to admit
your
that
shit's
you
been
did.
found at the crime scene, and you're like, no, I have no clue.
I'm never gonna say anything. Anyways, but in 2006, Keller actually wrote the parole board I'm gonna call it a bullshit letter, Stuart.
Well, yeah.
Stating that he lost his temper and killed Helen, but quote did not mean to hurt her.
What? Did she get the wrong lunch or something?
I mean,
she brought the wrong lunch to office.
And he didn't admit to actually sexually assaulting her or helping to bury the body, which Ed and Lorenzo did say that he was part of this. He said he wanted to be a firefighter when he got out. Oh, Jesus. Let me burn, Stuart. If this fucker's coming to save me, let me burn.
Mm-hmm.
And this is at the age of 55. You are not becoming a firefighter at the age of 55.
I could be a firefighter.
No, Stuart.
You don't think
don't help them with the math, okay?
You don't think I could go to the school?
No, don't help them with the math. Anyways, he's 55. He's not going to be a firefighter. So the family is outraged. The letter looked like something he threw together to just make, tick off a checkbox so he could actually get out of jail. The parole board sadly accepted this letter.
Shut your face.
I know, right? But he was released in May of 2008 after serving 26 years in prison. His only conditions of being let out was that he was not allowed to go into Lowndes or Brooks counties in Georgia, which is where the Hanks family resided, where the crime took place and everything like that. However, Stuart.
This will Tell me more.
This is going to piss everybody off.
Give me some details.
I hope your day's not going well because you're about to be mad, okay? Because I've been pissed off since I read this. In 2017, he requested that ban be lifted so that he could go into those counties where those family members lived. Now, the family was outraged, especially David, the son of Helen. He's like, my sisters still live in those areas. What are they supposed to do? They're going to be out at the Walmart or the grocery store, and they're going to have to run in this motherfucker who killed our mom.
Wow.
At the
Some
checkout line.
flying out there.
I know there's some F words flying, Stu. I can't even with this. Anyways, I'm just pissed off about this whole situation. So they let him go into these counties, Stu. He has free range about the country at this point. He's a free man.
So, like the Southwest commercial, ding, you're free to move about
Roam
the country.
about the country?
Yeah.
Yes. He is a free man, and everybody's pissed off and everything that. Well, come to find out.
Well, why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, come to find out.
Tell me more.
The attorney general who helped put him behind bars at the time.
The prosecutor?
Yes.
As it may be?
Yes. He actually went into private practice and actually began trying to help get him out of prison around 1997.
Face up.
Yes. This is some corruption at its
So the guy that
level.
put him in jail is like, hey, I can get you out of jail.
I can make more money in private practice, so I'm going to move to private practice. I'm going to work to get you out of jail. I'm going to be a
defense attorney.
Even though I know for a fact you killed this woman and you raped her.
Because I put your ass in jail.
Yes, I know all this stuff. I know all the information. I'm going to work to get you out of jail. And guess what? They run into each other hunting all the time at the hunting lease and all this stuff. They're like buddies.
So they go hunting together?
So I guarantee.
So the guy that prosecuted him became a defense attorney. Got him out of jail.
Not a defense. Oh, would it be a defense attorney?
Well, yeah.
I guess if he was working.
Got him out of jail.
Goes hunting with him.
Now he goes hunting with him.
And the parole board let him out. You don't think that there's some sort of corruption in there that they let this motherfucker out after he did this?
Hey, Valdosta, what's going on over there?
Yeah, Valdosta needs to get their shit together because this is a bunch of bullshit.
I don't care if you got a Milo's, In-N-Out Burger. I don't care what.
Was that Milo's? Was that
Milo's, Milo. I don't care what you got going on.
Was that in Georgia?
That was in Alabama.
Okay, it was Alabama. That was the last episode.
That was the last episode.
Although someone said that their food's not even that good, Stuart.
Well, they said, yeah, they did.
They did tell us that. Apparently the sweet tea is though, but I will vouch for that. I did, after you told me, you're like, I think you can get the sweet tea like other places. When I went to the office at work, someone had the Milo's tea there or whatever. Anyway, so basically all these people around this case suck. And that's where we're at. Are we get a y'all need Jesus moment, Stuart? Because I think we need it.
Why wouldn't we have a y'all need Jesus?
I don't know. Cause
wasn't this case a y'all? This whole case was a y'all need Jesus.
Okay, because I did all the writing and the researching, and all you had to do was look up some dumbass story about some idiots that did something dumb that might be in Florida or might not be.
It might or may not. Are you ready to guess?
Yes.
Florida or not Florida?
Yes.
Teens caught dumping murder victim in woods after leaving hazard lights on.
Okay. Stuart,
Florida or not Florida?
I'm torn because teenagers dumping a body, very Florida, very on brand for them.
Teenagers dumping in a body on brand for any state.
Okay. But also leaving their hazard lights on, I feel like that's like a step above Florida. Like they would never put their hazard lights on because they would not even think about that type of thing. So I'm going to go with not Florida because of the hazard lights. Definitely Florida's, like they got teenagers dumping bodies all over the place in swamps, alligators, all
Florida
that shit.
gets a bad name because they got sunshine laws where everything that's in the newspapers.
Yeah, we know. Anyway.
Sunshine is on them.
Not Florida.
Not Florida.
Because of the hazard lights.
Okay. New Jersey teens.
Jersey!
Caught dumping murder victim.
You know how we feel about Jersey.
In Pennsylvania.
Not Pennsylvania.
There's two states.
Don't drag Pennsylvania
Jersey
down
and
to
Pennsylvania
your Jersey nonsense.
after leaving hazard lights on.
Okay.
2 teenage brothers from Somerset, New Jersey, are charged with criminal homicide after cops stumbled on them trying to dump a dead body in the woods
dead body?
in Pennsylvania because they left their hazard lights on.
What is the dead body, though? This is the bigger story.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Just hang in there with me. Anthony Gamble, 19, and his brother, Joshua
Jesus,
Gamble,
don't bring Joshua into this.
17,
Oh, Joshua.
who
You
is
had so
being
much hope.
charged as an adult. That's why we
They
got his
should
name.
be. They should be.
Were taken into custody Thursday morning. And I say Thursday morning because this is June 18th, 2021.
Okay.
Okay. You okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Someone's obviously dead, so I'm not okay with that.
Obviously.
Go on.
After
It's like almost like someone didn't research this story before they brought it up.
I did. I had to scroll back and see the date.
Okay.
After Pennsylvania state troopers pulled over to check on what they assumed were disabled vehicles.
Yeah, they were just trying to help somebody out here. These police officers were like, "Hey, we
just
got
rolling
a
up. Hey, we got some
stranded
hazard
citizen.
lights on."
Yeah, they got a busted tire, or something's wrong with the engine."
Make more sense if it was sheriff's deputies, since the sheriff's elected. But these are troopers. They're going above and beyond. I
They're
mean,
the
they
super
don't give a
troopers.
shit. Yeah. I mean,
They're doing their part. Okay, go on.
Okay, so going on. The troopers approached the blinking Subaru and a parked Audi.
Jesus Christ. Don't fucking
just
trust a
after-
Subaru. Jesus
know.
Christ. Oh, my God.
It's just
Like,
ridiculous.
just-
Well, there was an Audi involved in this too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an
acceptable.
it's an
vehicle.
elevated the crime right there because it's like, oh, it's an Audi. A Subaru, please. They probably like killed somebody stabbed one with a granola bar or something like that.
It's quite possible. So just after midnight, they found Joshua Gamble lying on the ground in the woods wearing a glove and a bloody shoe. According to prosecutors, a glove and a bloody shoe, that's just weird. As they detained the younger teen, his brother, Anthony, ran toward the car wearing a blood-stained clothing and carrying gloves. He was promptly arrested, according to officials. Why would you run toward the car?
Okay, I don't know. I want to know. This is really bad because they obviously killed somebody. Who'd they kill?
So you want to get to the meat of the stories which tell me. Troopers then found a dead man's body in the woods near the Audi.
Oh my God.
Which contained blood and a large knife on the passenger side floor.
These are sickos.
Prosecutors revealed. The initial investigation indicates the unidentified male appeared to have stab wounds about his head, neck, upper chest,
this is more like a
and arm.
podcast episode rather than a y'all need Jesus. What are you doing? You usually come with us some funny shit.
This is some weird shit. I mean,
It's not funny though.
I didn't say it was funny.
Somebody died.
Yeah, these motherfuckers need Jesus.
Okay, well.
This is all about y'all
So
need
does
Jesus, right?
Keller Wilcox.
Well, Keller was a weirdo.
Keller and Foxy Wilcox. Yeah.
Yeah. Both cars, the victim and the knife, were all found within 100 feet of each other. The teens are charged with criminal homicide,
Why did
criminal
they kill?
conspiracy,
Who did they kill?
position. The dead man that they found in the car.
Who was he though?
Investigators are trying to determine the circumstances of the fatal stabbing and figure out why the alleged bumbling killers were across state lines more than 60 miles from Somerset County. As of right now, we are unable to discern any reason for them to be in Bucks County and Richland Township.
Did you not do any follow-up research?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God.
Why would
Stuart,
I?
we don't know who this man is that they killed. We don't
No,
know
we
why
don't.
they killed him.
We
We don't know
don't.
if they're in jail. We don't know any of the facts. This was a terrible y'all need.
We
Jesus.
just know that these dumbasses were trying to dispose of a body with hazard lights on when the popos showed up, and they're like, "Hey, do y'all need help?" And they're like, "Why, yes, we do. We got a
Could
dead
you
body.
please
We're
help
trying to bury it.
dispose of this
Could you help
body?"
us dispose of this body?" And they're like, "Oh, wait, no, we don't."
Okay, I'll admit that's really stupid.
Yeah, so these two dumb shits, Joshua and Dipwad number 2, need Jesus because they're idiots.
Oh my God. Okay, I get it. Yeah. So they need Jesus, and this probably should be a episode on the
This
podcast.
is probably going to be an episode on the podcast later when we get more details. Drink. You
Anyways,
idiots.
all right. So thank you, Stuart, for that. Y'all need Jesus.
Why, you were quite welcome, young lady.
You did so much.
I know.
Work.
I did so much research into this.
All right. So everybody, if you enjoyed this shit show of a podcast, give us 5 stars. If you did not enjoy it, though,
you need to talk to our frickin' advertisers.
What advertisers?
We don't have any, but if we ever do get some advertisers, you need to not talk to them.
Yeah, Stuart doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyways, if you didn't enjoy this podcast, just don't ever come back, and please don't leave us a review because we don't need any more 1 stars. We've had enough 1 stars.
Yes, we have.
Hey, we warned you. This is not a classy podcast. We're not classy folk. Anyways, all right. So, that was my shoe, Stuart. Don't even start with me.
I thought you farted.
All right, so I hate you. That was my shoe. Anyway, so like us on the Facebooks, follow us on the Instagrams. If you like to read, I have a book club. It's Bless This Mess Book Club. You can find it on
the interwebs,
on the bio of the Instagram podcast or the Instagram page or whatever. I've got the books posted there. I read a lot, so I post about it and everything like that. Anyways, and then we have our Patreon because we do this for free, but we would appreciate a couple bucks every month. It would be super duper of you. And yeah, give us a 5-star review. No 1 stars. We don't want that.
No, we don't. And all my news are posted at
what?
www.smalldicks.com.
If you made it this far in the podcast,
then you're a sucker.
There's your gym. All right,
yeah.
So, all right, bye everyone. Say bye, Stu.
Bye, Stu.
Don't you know it's bad luck to be superstitious, but nothing else is working, and my head is really hurting, and I'm sick of all this worry.